Goodness, Val, is a very personal and individual thing, the way I see it. I'm an instinctive creature, see? Now take this Vietnam War. A lot of people think it is an evil war. Well, of course it is. But hell, we didn't start that evil, see? Our side has simply chosen to oppose it, to oppose the evil. I personally go along with that idea. Therefore, I feel that I am on the side of good when I'm over there fighting that war. I would feel very evil myself if I hung back and didn't throw myself in there with the good guys, see? With me, it's a personal and instinctive thing, and I'm in the same sort of situation here with this private little war I'm in now. I didn't start this mess, see? The Mafia has been having their own way in this country for a hell of a lot of years. Well, I finally saw the evil of the Mafia. I saw what they were doing, and I felt the need to oppose them. It's as simple as that. You can take all the damn philosophies and beauty religions and peace movements and put them in a pile, and they still won't mean as much as my individual instinctive reaction to the Mafia. These people are dripping, oozing mass of evil draped about the throat of this country. I'm going to pry them loose if I can, even if, in the end, the devil picks up all the marbles. It must be nice to have such a simple and uncomplicated view of the world, Valentina commented. Ah, come off it, Val, Bolan said half irritably. People like to play philosophic games with themselves, and they get all tangled up in the loose ends. Look at all these mixed up nuts parading around this country squalling about our immoral war. If they feel all that strongly about it, why don't they go over and join the other side and fight for their idea of good? You are totally committed to the idea of violence and bloodshed, aren't you? She observed solemnly. No, I'm not. I'm committed to action. As long as I'm sitting around just yapping about good and evil, then I'm merely debating the question. And while I'm debating, evil might get the upper hand. No, Val, if I thought I could march through the underworld tooting on a pipe and have all the hoods and goons and rats follow me to jail, then that's the way I'd go about it. What the hell are we arguing about? I didn't start this mess. The Mafia started it just by being. Being what they are. The mere fact that they are what they are has challenged me. I've answered the challenge. That's all. And yes, in this instance, I am committed to violence and bloodshed. War without end, she sighed. Yes. War without end. That is from the literary classic, The Executioner, War Against the Mafia. This interesting book. So, you might have noticed from the title of this video that I like to blame all my decisions if they end up poorly on Ollie, CriminOlly. I just blame everything on CriminOlly. It seems to work. So I decided to read this Mack Bolan book because when I first started watching CriminOlly's channel, which is awesome, by the way, he was talking about Mack Bolan, an adventure character that I used to see. I used to see Mack Bolan books all over the place. Mack Bolan, the Executioner. But I had forgotten all about Mack Bolan and Mack Bolan books until I saw CriminOlly talking about him when I first started watching CriminOlly's channel. And I said to myself, I never read any of those. I should do that just to see what they're like, because I literally used to see them around all the time. My brother used to read Mack Bolan books, the Executioner books, if I'm remembering correctly. And I must be, because I don't know where else they'd come from. And I used to see them, like I said, around the house all the time. But I never read them because I was too good. I was too good for that pulpy trash. No, I was too busy reading comic books. So I decided, I should read that. I should read some Mack Bolan books just to see what they're like. And I went on the Kindle just to see if like any were available, and I figured of course they wouldn't be, because whenever you're looking for something that's kind of old or obscure or whatever, they're never on here. But these were on here, and so I got like a few of them, and I read the first one in the series. The series goes on and on and on. He wrote, I don't know how many he wrote, Don Pendleton, the creator of The Executioner. I don't know how many he wrote. I think he wrote maybe 15 to 20, maybe more, maybe less. But he sold The Executioner series to, was it Harlequin? And they took over the series, and they would just hire somebody to write whatever Mack Bolan book was coming out. And I don't know how often they came out, but they must have come out pretty often, because I think there are a mess of them. And there were spin-off series too. So there's a lot of Executioner books floating around. And I read the very first one. And it was really interesting. It's trash, of course. It's trash. I knew it was trash going in, but that's usually okay. I don't mind trash. And this was definitely trash. So the first thing I noticed reading about Mack Bolan is that he's a psychopath. He's a complete, I mean, this guy is just, he's nuts. He's a psychopath, and an incredibly successful mass murderer. He killed a lot of people in this book, and I'm just assuming every book in the series, he's killing a whole lot of folks. So when you put all those books together, he's killed, I don't know, several armies worth of people probably. So he's very good, at least at that, at killing people. You know, Mack Bolan he's good at it. So Mack Bolan was a sniper in Vietnam, probably the perfect job for this guy. But then back home, his dad took out a loan from the Mafia, which is just a stupid idea. And he couldn't, of course, pay back the loan, because I'm assuming he's just terrible with money, which is why he needed that loan in the first place. And so he was being leaned on by the Mafia, and then his daughter, Mack Bolan's sister, decided to prostitute herself to help make money so he could pay off the Mafia. And of course, she prostituted herself for the Mafia. And so when the dad found out, Mack Bolan's dad found out, he grabbed a gun and shot her, and shot his wife, and shot his son, and shot himself, because he was a lunatic, just like his kid, Mack Bolan. The son survived, and Mack Bolan came back and saw what his father had done and said, okay. And then he decided to get revenge on the Mafia for driving his crazy, insane dad to doing this. And Mack Bolan, to ship off the old block, decided he would just go and slaughter the Mafia. And so he kills some Mafia people right away. And then he decides to go undercover in the Mafia. He does a terrible job. There's no reason why they shouldn't have known right away that something was wrong with this guy. But they managed to just let him, they just hire him, Mack Bolan, to, be an enforcer or whatever. So he can get all the lowdown on the Mafia, get intel for his war. So he gets intel for a while, and then just decides to kill many more people in the Mafia. And that's pretty much what the book is about, right there. It doesn't go much deeper than that. He meets Val eventually when he's wounded, and she nurses him back to health. Nothing will nurse this guy back to health. There's no helping this guy. Crazy. And so he meets her, and they fall instantly in love. That's how it goes in this type of thing. This was a fun book. It was entertaining, I have to say. So I'm fine with having read it, and I probably will read more of them, because I've got them hanging out on this thing. So I probably will read more Mack Bolan books because they were fun. This was a fun book. The violence was exciting and well done. Probably the only really well done thing in this book. Dialogue was pretty bad. Don Pendleton does seem to know something about firearms. He doesn't seem to know much about bullet wounds, however. There was a point when Mack Bolan was shot in the shoulder. It was a small arms fire, but even a small caliber gun can cause tremendous damage if you get shot in the shoulder, because that moves your arm. So even a minor bullet wound is going to just debilitate you for a long time. But of course in this book that doesn't happen. He just he sleeps it off basically after digging the bullet out with tweezers, because he's just that tough. So yeah, I mean, I won't get into it, but this was a really unrealistic injury in the first place. And his recovery was remarkable. He must be related to Wolverine and has Wolverine's recuperative superpowers. But he was right back in the fight with his war against the Mafia. He kills a whole lot of more people. And it was entertaining. It was about what I expected. It was a little weirder than I expected. There's a lot of weird sex in this book, which is always tricky to do anyway. And this was done pretty badly. These could be some of the strangely described sex scenes I've encountered in a while are in this book. Mack Bolan, for one thing, doesn't seem to be very good at it. So they probably should have just skipped over that whole thing, but they didn't. Maybe it was the time it was written. This came out in 1969. So they felt in a men's adventure story that they should have obligatorily put this in there. It was unfortunate. Does not put our executioner in a good light. But he is good at killing people. That he is good at. And so those parts of the book were fun and interesting. Just the awful, horrendous violence from this lunatic. He's basically a lunatic, this guy. Yeah, so I read a Mack Bolan book, and I'm blaming it on CriminOlly. And I'll probably read another one, and I'll blame it on CriminOlly again. So yeah, there you go. Mack Bolan, War Against the Mafia. A good time. I will probably move on to more literary things next. Well, right now I'm reading The Hobbit, which is about as far away from the executioners you can get. Yeah, so there you go. There's Mack Bolan, War Against the Mafia. Hope you enjoyed. Catch me tomorrow for this Sunday Penguin, where we talk about something much more classy. Okay, guys, you have a great day.